It is the 5th video already on our E30 S54 build. And if you're just now tuning in, my name is Jason.
And my name is Selena. And today we're going to be mocking up the S54 in our E30. Last video, we
put it in there.
Basically, we took everything unnecessary that will be in the way to put it in here. And it's,
it's in here,
it's held up by the engine crane.
Yeah, we got the engine hoist, crane, whatever you want to call it. And then we've got 2 jack stands underneath. And we also have the 6-speed manual behind attached with the transmission jack.
Why do you do me like that?
I mean, some people do call it an engine crane.
I know, I swear I've heard it like that. I swear.
Some people call it a cherry picker. I don't know why it's called a cherry picker, because that's a little bit too much for cherries. Today we're actually going to figure out where the S54 is going to be placed.
But we did buy a whole new front subframe just in case.
Actually, we didn't buy it. My buddy at Parts European, I'll have all of his information linked down below. He has been a huge help to me over the years, and he actually gave us the whole front subframe, the steering rack, everything off of an E30.
And make sure to check out his website for a lot of BMW parts.
But let's just get on with it. I think I want to lift up the engine a little bit more, get it more placed in the engine bay, and then we can figure out how we're going to secure it to the chassis so we can lift it up. That's good. So now when I lower this, all of the weight should go on this bar and the transmission jack that's in the back. And I've got the whole tie down double tied, so it should hold it. Let's see.
We have another jack underneath just in case though.
There we go. Like a boss. Okay, so now the goal is we need to get the transmission supported like this somehow. That way we can lift the whole car up and then we can start releasing underneath.
Never mind, I told him he has that red jack underneath. So I think that's what the weight's on right now. But let's see, do it, lower it. Oh, it moves, it's moving. Is that it?
Yep.
All right, it only moved down a little bit.
Okay, now I gotta figure out the transmission situation.
Are you sure it's holding though?
I mean,
so you're telling me the whole weight is on this tie down?
Yeah, you're just touching it like it's nothing. This is where your creativity comes into play.
And where your sketchiness begins.
It's not called sketchy, it's creativity.
We're like chill for the camera, but we're freaking out inside.
Speak for yourself, I'm good.
I'm freaking out for us.
Bro, well, we still have this on there. And worst case scenario, we have an extra S54 if we really need to, right, babe? Imagine being the dude that dropped an S54 because he thought Harbor Freight tie downs would hold it up in place. All right, I got it. That's easy.
What is your creative solution?
Creative solution. There we go. See, babe? We make such a good creative team. I'm going to use the factory automatic cross member to just hold the transmission in place. That way we can lift the whole car up.
So it won't be sitting on the mounts, just like, it'll just hold it? Okay.
Yeah, it'll just hold, the cross member's full metal piece, so there's no creativity there, it's just pop.
But hey, in the first video, I asked you guys if y'all wanted time lapses or us talking. So this is basically us talking through the process, me freaking out a little bit with his creative solutions.
And obviously, when we're building a whole custom subframe, I'm not gonna build something out of wood or tie downs. It's going to be legit. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to trust it for myself.
Or we just ride hoodless and keep this on here.
Yeah.
Make it badass.
Well, you know, there's actually some cars that have straps that go around the engine mounts, especially the cars that are super torquey. Because what will happen if an engine is super torquey, the engine's gonna go twist like that whenever you really, really mash on the gas pedal. So they have those limiting straps just in case if that one time that mount starts tearing and you didn't notice, the whole engine doesn't just flop up. So this is not a creative solution, this is a real solution.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh is not the right word.
Oh, I mean, yay, it's off the engine crane. The engine crane, right?
Engine crane, yes, sure. So I don't have it sitting where I like it to, because I need the manual transmission crossmember. I think I might have one in the shed. I actually have it sitting on the output shaft of the transmission, which is not good and not recommended at all. But for right now, I'm just gonna lift it up. Once we have it up in the air, then I'm gonna put my jack underneath it right away. It's in there. Now I need to find something to support this area just to be safe. And then we can line everything up, move stuff around as we need to. Just like that. I think the engine and the transmission both still need to go a little bit higher up into there. But one thing that I'm already noticing, if we ever have to replace the clutch or stuff like that, I definitely will probably have to remove the engine and transmission together, because there's not enough space in that transmission tunnel. At least it doesn't seem like it, but once we remove all the sound deadening, then it might be okay.
You're telling me this is going to turn on one day, and we're just gonna pull it out?
We're gonna zoom right out.
That's a little crazy.
I know, right?
I can't wait to clean all this.
Oh yeah.
There's like a bunch of baby spiders everywhere. But yeah, so I guess we're gonna pull the front subframe over here and start doing something.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to cut it up.
So here's a subframe that I got from Parts European. He gave me the entire front end, so I'm just going to take everything apart so we can release the front subframe. That way we can start cutting it up. So I'm just going to make these rough cuts on the chop saw. We just need the ends of the subframe. The sections that hold the control arm ball joint, as well as the section that holds the engine mount arm and that attaches to the E30 chassis legs. So once we have that, we can actually set the S54 down onto the engine mount location somewhat. It doesn't have to be exact, but this allows us to figure everything else out.
So I just took off the automatic transmission crossmember that was factory on this car, since it's an automatic. I've got a manual one right here. It's a little bit different, but still has that same angle because these are both not exactly even. One side's higher than the other. So we're gonna put this, and we're gonna try to adapt this to accept the 6-speed manual out of the E46 M3. All right, so now we've got our custom engine mounts in here for the time being. We've got a couple of 2x4s, but the way it works, we have all of the stock S54 engine mount arms, everything is stock, and we have the stock E30 subframe that we cut up. So what I'm doing is I'm spacing it out pretty much evenly, because the way the engine mount arms are designed is gonna put the engine exactly where it needs to be, as long as everything else is level according to that. So we've got the subframe mounting points, the stock ones in spot. We've got two 2x4s underneath each engine mount arm. So when I lower this, it should sit at the proper level it needs to. Only thing that's gonna still change the level around a little bit is gonna be the transmission. So we're gonna do that next. First, we're just gonna bring this down onto those custom 2x4 engine mounts. So the manual crossmember is not going to work either, mainly because the transmission is just in the way. I know they make an adapter to make the E30 crossmember work. I'm gonna need to look into that a little bit, but first what I'm gonna do is, now that we have the engine like sitting on those 2x4s, it actually could support the transmission as well, because it just wedges itself against the firewall. But we still have this crossmember in place just in case. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring the car down, check the angle of the engine and see where it's sitting, just to get a better idea of how big we need those mounts to be. And just check all the placement of everything. You know, it's gonna be a lot of just test fitting, going up, down, until we get it to exactly where we want it. Okay, so right off the bat, engine is sitting too high and it's too tilted that way. So what we need to do, I think we're gonna take out one of those 2x4s. That way it's only one 2x4 holding it up. And the engine is also sitting diagonally. It's not completely straight where it should be. All right, let's take off one of the 2x4s. So I took out the blocks, one 2x4 out of each side, and now it's a little too low. So I think we just need it to be 1.5 2x4s. Oh man. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to lower it some more and just get it to sit on that one 2x4, just see how it looks, and I can take a look at the transmission as well. All right, so I think one 2x4 is perfect. It's sitting pretty much where we want it. I want it a little bit higher, but once we figure out the actual engine mount that we're gonna use, that should pretty much sort all of that out. That's not a problem. The only other thing is I still need to lift the transmission up a little bit, and I want to scoot it back about 1/2 inch. So I'm going to lift the car back up, see what we have to work with in terms of the transmission tunnel, and then go from there. But so far, I'm actually liking how everything is looking. We do have enough space here for a radiator, but not a fan. So we're going to have to probably go with an electric fan conversion or something, get rid of all of this and scoot everything up. So the AC condenser and all that can be scooted up as well. But that's all not that big of a deal. Like I said, it's not going to be a daily. Ideally, we want AC and heat, but it's not a requirement. Maybe just a little hair more to that way. And then we're in the center. Oh, that was a little bit more than a hair. Hey guys, I know this is not 100% accurate. Right now we're still eyeballing. And one thing even with stock engine mounts and stock transmission mounts, there's a little bit of adjustment depending on where exactly you tighten the nuts down or the cross members and everything. So you always have that little bit of adjustment. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but we're gonna try to make it as close to perfect as we can. And everything that I'm doing right now, everything is adjustable. Even the subframe, the subframe itself can scoot around a couple millimeters. Everything is adjustable. But right now our goal is to get it as close to where we want it. That way once we start making, plating up the subframe, we're making the custom cross member, everything is exactly where we need it and we don't have to worry about making it 2 or 3 times. So now here's the plan for the front subframe. So as you guys saw, we have 2 front subframes now. The original one is going to be used as our jig, so we know exactly where the steering needs to line up and all of that. And this one is the one that we're using for all the mock-ups. So the way that we're going to do this, we're going to actually plate the entire subframe with something thicker than it came with. We're going to plate both sides, and then we'll either get a tubing bender or figure out another method with square tubing or whatever it is to get the whole front section made. So on the stock subframe, we have the subframe goes through exactly where this oil pan is. So it goes exactly like this, and the steering rack sits right here in front of the subframe. So the way we're gonna do it now is we're gonna have the steering rack sit behind this front cross member that goes on the subframe. So we're gonna go this way and go all the way across and have the steering rack right here. But we want the steering to be in the same exact location as it was from factory. That way we don't have to worry about any of the suspension geometry. Everything should line up. And if we do need to move the steering rack, there's options for that as well. We can mix and match all kinds of control arms and all kinds of stuff to get the suspension geometry exactly where we need it to be. There's so much mix and matching we can do with engine mounts, transmission mounts, the compound that we use, all of that. Everything is adjustable. That's the cool thing about E30s. Everything can be mixed and matched, and so many people make so many different things for these cars. So we'll figure that out. I think that's it for this video though. I think we've got a better idea of what all needs to be done now. Now I can start sourcing the materials to start doing it. For example, the plating for this, or whether we go with the tubing bender, all that stuff. We gotta get all that stuff ordered and go from there.
But anyways, thank you for watching this video. You guys will probably not see another E30 video for a little while. We will still be working on it, don't worry, but we have other projects also while we figure some stuff out here.
So now it's just gonna be time for me to open up my wallet and start buying tools, materials, and even other parts so we can continue going on with this build. We really wanna finish this build this year, hopefully even in the next few months, depending on how parts are available and how long it takes us to get everything.
Now the next few videos are gonna get a little bit more complicated. They're gonna take more time to film, to do. So stay tuned for our other projects.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.